Hello guys, this is Wale Farron. I'm a tech entrepreneur and welcome to another episode of TechRoundUp Talk. On this show, we go into practical discussion with a subject matter expert and explore all matters technology. We do this by discussing our guests' professional background, their rise to the top, and topical issues in their vertical. On today's episode, we do a startup review. We will talk to Abebe, the founder and CEO of ShopexTV, which was launched in 2018. ShopexTV started as a campaign on TV as an infomercial. The infomercial was used to launch one of their top-selling products, the Copper Shelf Pan. The Copper Shelf Pan is an innovative non-stick pan, and the company has partnered with several media outlets, including DSTV, TVC, Silverbird, and Ebony Live, and now EC is on TechRoundUp. EC, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, that's that was an interesting intro with the innovative product that you guys used to launch the product last year. Yeah. Could you tell the viewers what that actually meant? Because that caught my interest. I was almost not able to say it out well.
Well, the product is called Copper Chef. Okay. It's a copper-infused non-stick pan, and it's sold millions globally. Oh. So we're quite privileged to be the exclusive distributors of the product for West Africa. Okay. So what we do is we look at products that have tested quite well in the global scene. Okay. And then we try and complement it with products that we feel are fit for the Nigerian consumer. Okay. And once we feel a product fits, then we bring them in, and it goes through our response logistics platform. Okay. And we see what the sales is like. And this particular product has just done really well. Okay. It's cheap, it's practical, it's affordable, it's a good product.
It sounds like a very innovative way to acquire and sell a product in the Nigerian market. But before we go in depth into what it takes to actually do that, it would be interesting to learn a little bit more about your background. What have you done in the past, and what led you to start ShopexTV?
Yeah, so my career in media dates back over 20 years. My initial background was in chemical engineering. Okay. So I graduated from the University of Leeds as a chemical engineer, and then after that I went on to study law in London. Halfway through my law degree, I began to really dabble with a lot in graphic design and post-production and filming. I was heavily involved with the church at the time, so there was a lot of opportunity to express myself creatively. And eventually I got a break as a post-production assistant working with the BBC. Okay. So that really opened me up to broadcasting and the TV management, channel management. Yeah. And then from there, I really focused on that for about 4 or 5 years. So I was one of the founders and founding investors and operators for a company called Made Television in the UK. They're the largest local TV network in the UK. So I launched the first local TV station in Leeds. I went on to manage and launch several TV stations, including teleshopping channels.
Interesting.
It was in the process of launching and managing a teleshopping channel for one of the largest teleshopping companies in the UK. It was there that I really began to see how the business worked. Okay. And I saw there was an opportunity in Nigeria because the model doesn't exist. Yeah. So I thought, well, this could be interesting, and that's what led me to it.
It's an interesting way to think about it. I mean, if you look at the Nigerian market, with the evolution of e-commerce in the last several years, which I've been part of, it's not been straightforward. There's been a lot of media attention. There's been a lot of investors' attention, watching the space and seeing what Nigeria can actually do with technology and e-commerce. Yeah. Needless to say that we're still trying to figure it out. There's so many issues around, consumer trust, adoption, and things of those nature. But your approach is quite different. Could you tell us a little bit about how you're situating that in the Nigerian market? Because this is different from going online and buying this product. This is a different way of doing e-commerce. Could you provide more insight on how you guys are doing it?
Well, so what we've done is we sort of position ourselves with two platforms that we know works in Nigeria, television and mobile phones.
Okay.
There's certainly an opportunity for the e-commerce space. There's certainly the population for it, but we didn't feel that there's enough traction yet to justify a major push into the e-commerce sector, especially with a couple of players already there who are essentially pushing the way forward. We certainly benefited from the early adopters of e-commerce by taking advantage of the maturity of payment processing platform.
The investment that they've made into the space.
I mean, without that investment, we wouldn't have been able to launch this business model.
Makes sense.
But what we felt was television is always a major driver. I mean, if you put something up on the website, you still have to drive people to go and buy those products. But what we find is television is almost like advertising steroids. You get the volumes that you need to be able to push your sales forward. And you combine that with mobile technology, the ability to pay using your phone. We just felt it was a good fit for our business model. Obviously, it comes at a high cost. Airtime is not cheap in Nigeria, but there are ways in which we're able to get around that.
And what has, based on the launch that you did last year, what has been the response of the market to that? And I'm sure you guys get a lot of data monitoring how this is panning out and all that, especially compared to putting stuff on a website, even compared to what most of the established e-commerce players are saying in terms of response to people going online and completing transactions.
I mean, the fact is, nothing is going to drive viewer awareness like television. It's a trusted media platform. It's a platform that more people are watching TV than they are online, certainly in terms of making online transactions. It's easy, it's situated in the comfort of your home. So all of those things give us the advantage, or give anyone who uses television as an advantage. I know TV viewership has declined over the last few years as a result of various platforms like VOD, payment in advance, and so forth. But ultimately, there's still going to be a lot of people watching TV. And sometimes what you want is to drive brand awareness as well, because we also have a social media strategy, we have an online strategy. So what we're doing is that we're using television just to push sales, not just via website and social media, but also even on other platforms as well.
Okay, so when people watch the infomercial on TV, even when they don't make the buying decision immediately, you can push them to other channels where they can learn more and then subsequently decide that they want to buy the product. Is that what you're saying with the other channels?
What we want to avoid is to dilute the consumer purchasing journey, because then it becomes difficult to trace how or where they got the information from. So what we want is for people to buy while the campaign is live. And what we find is 95% of the sales happens when the commercial is on air. And the conversion rate for sales reduces a few minutes after the commercial.
All right. To switch gears a little bit, I know that you recently concluded your seed funding, and I think one of the partners that participated in that round is a UK-based investment organization. The question is, it's always difficult to convince a foreign investor to put money in a market like ours. We've seen a shift in that, especially around technology, technology solutions and technology companies in the last few years. But nonetheless, it's always a journey. Having people put money into a market that is very volatile and they know very little about, especially with e-commerce that we've seen 5 years of in progression, depending on how you look at it, not so much. So I'm just wondering, what was that journey like, and how were you able to convince them to buy into this dream, this vision that this thing can work in the Nigerian market?
Funny enough, we have two investors on board, Nigerian and a London-based firm. It was actually easier to convince the London than it was with the Nigerian VC.
Interesting.
And the reason is because the business model has been tested and proven to be successful globally, just not in Nigeria. So when we approached the VC firm who are based in England and we said we want to launch teleshopping in Nigeria, they know teleshopping model works. But in Nigeria, they don't know what teleshopping is. It doesn't exist. So we're the first. So it was an educative process to tell people this is how it works, this is the logistics, this is the technology. And so we didn't really have that much of an issue with our foreign-based investor. It was more the Nigerians trying to get them around what the investment opportunity is, simply because the model didn't exist.
Okay. So what do you, so I take the point that this model exists, so for them, you know, they feel like it's going to work. What about the factor, what about the Nigerian factor? How does that play into the conversation?
I think what helps is I had a previous relationship with the initial investors. We're actually in the business in a similar industry together.
Yep.
In fact, so I launched one of the local TV stations in the UK. Well, he was responsible for launching the engineering infrastructure across the UK. So our paths are sort of crossed in the past. Okay. And I knew he was heavily into teleshopping. So in fact, when I decided to go into teleshopping in Nigeria, he was the first person I called to say, look, this is what I'm thinking. Now, unbeknown to me, he was actually thinking of doing the same across Africa.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so there was already a consensus of mine. And then, so as far as he was concerned, he found in me somebody who was trustworthy, reliable, and had the expertise to launch teleshopping. He knew the business works, the model works, and so it wasn't really, it was, I mean, the Nigerian factor, yes, I think maybe there was some initial nervousness the first time they sent money since the first time they sent money to us, you know. But I mean, so far it hasn't been too bad. Who knows what? I mean, we're still going through financial rounds.
Yeah, sure.
Next few months, so that might be different. When you're raising a lot more, and obviously the due diligence is a lot more.
No, but obviously, if you've also proven that you can use small money to get traction, then it also becomes, you know, the story becomes a bit more convincing So let's look a little bit more into the e-commerce space as we look forward.
Yeah.
You know, for you guys, I see that you partner with some major media houses that exposes your infomercial beyond Lagos, right? So which means that I'm assuming that then you have the infrastructure and the capacity to respond to consumers, you know, nationwide. Is that across Nigeria? Is that what's obtainable? And the second part of that question is, are you guys looking, since you've mentioned a Pan-African sort of establishment, are you guys looking to expand this across a few other sub-Saharan markets as you move forward with this?
So I mean, the first question, we are already delivering across Nigeria. I mean, that was really a very simple decision to make. Initially, we wanted to deliver just across Lagos. Deliveries are free across Lagos, but what we began to find was some of the TV channels that are on DSTV, the frequencies across Nigeria. And so we had calls from Abuja, Port Harcourt, and we initially turning them down. And then we spoke to our logistics team and said, look, can we roll this across the country? They said yes. We added a small margin for delivery costs, and it went fine. So we're already doing that. As far as a Pan-African footprint is concerned, I think it just depends on the size of the market and how mature their payment and their logistics platforms are. South Africa is big in teleshopping. It already has 5 teleshopping companies there. 2 of them are floated in the South African Stock Exchange. So there's big business there. Is there an opportunity for us? If we feel that we have the right products for that market, yes. We've already had a few calls from Ghana interested in buying the products, which we turned down. At some point, it just depends on the size of the market and if it makes sense for us cost-wise to do so.
All right. So one of the last things we do on the show is
tell jokes or something. Some kind of icebreaker.
I hope.
What's your first favorite product?
That's a joke. that's good. We haven't listened to obviously your background and the decision to move into entrepreneurship and, you know, crack this and solve a few problems. I'm sure you picked up quite a number of lessons along the way. For the budding entrepreneur who is watching this and trying to say, yeah, this is innovative thinking, this is a shift in what we know, how does EC do it? What are those 3 things that you would say should be at the back of an entrepreneur who is trying to use technology to solve a problem, use technology to build a company, just trying to make things work around here?
So an entrepreneur is trying to use technology to solve problems. For Nigeria, what I would say is make sure make sure that the technology you're developing is solving simple problems. Try and focus on the problems that people come across every day, and it's a simple problems as opposed to the complicated problems.
Okay.
The focus really is on, in Nigeria is thinking, I want to go from A to B, really.
Yeah.
I mean, A to Z there's so many hindrances in terms of our economy and our infrastructure and all of that.
Yeah.
But if you can use technology to solve very simple problems and they are scalable, you could do really well.
Okay. So you've heard it from EC. If you're thinking about jumping into this space or using technology to solve a problem, he's saying that simplicity is very key. Keep it simple. Don't jump from A to Z. Make it A to B, one at a time, and then you take it further. That's it on this episode of Tech Roundup Talk. Until next time, when we bring another guest to share their insights and their journey and their passion for the space. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to encourage you to please follow me on LinkedIn at Wale Faron, or follow the Tech Roundup YouTube channel across all platforms. You can also see those platforms across your screen. Thank you, have a great weekend, and see you all again next time. Thank you. EC, thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
Yeah, good to see you. All right, thanks.